Welcome to Target Market Insights, the multifamily and marketing podcast. Each week, John Kasman interviews multifamily and marketing experts to teach you how to find the best places to invest, attract investors, and grow your portfolio. You are listening to Target Market Insights with your host, John Kasman.
Welcome to Target Market Insights, the multifamily and marketing show. I'm your host, John Kasman, and I want to thank you for joining us for another great episode. Now, if you're enjoying the show, do me one quick favor and leave us that 5-star rating and review, and I'm happy to get any feedback that you have for the show. Make sure you also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Speaking of episodes, today we've got Prashant Kumar. Now, Prashant Kumar is the CEO and president of My Realty Gains. Prashant is an enthusiastic, passionate, and goal-oriented multifamily operator who applies his 25 years of experience in corporate America to analyzing income and expenses, calculating net operating income, and calculating the purchase price based on NOI and market cap rate for deals. Now, he does JV and syndication apartment deals, and along with his multifamily investing, he has a passion to buy assisted living properties. Let's welcome to the show, Prashant Kumar.
John, thank you so much. I appreciate for a nice introduction. Thank you for being here. Thanks. I'm grateful that you invited me in this episode.
Absolutely. Listen, Prashant, I went over your bio at a high level. Why don't you take a minute or two and give us a little bit more context?
See, basically, John, my background is a technocrat. I come from a very humble family background. I did my engineering from one of the best institutes from India. I came here in 1999 with $45 in my pocket, like everybody else do. And ever since, I've worked in all these multinational companies, companies who have their offices all over the world. Currently, I've been managing employees all over the world, for that matter, for last 10, 15 years. But like 5 years ago, I had developed the passion about real estate. In the first year of my real estate, I bought few single family homes, investment properties. Within that year, I bought 24 units for myself. And within that year, I bought 72 units for myself. But then I realized, this is the end of it. My money is dried up. I don't have any more money. So within 15 months of my real estate investing career, I jumped into syndication. That's when, I did my first syndication as a general partner, KP, with a bigger, in a bigger deal, 500 units. And that deal taught me so much. I just had the attitude to just go in and get things going, help out whichever way through my network. And that gave me the boost after that, those things started rolling. So in about 3-4 years, last 3-4 years, that has been my journey. I have helped others in their deals, and I have had my deals, which I have bought, fixed, and sold also. So we are looking for deals for ourselves, and we are willing to share our knowledge with the folks out there, those who are newcomers. And besides multifamily, as you said, I have developed passion for assisted living facilities also. We bought few facilities last year, and we are in the process of acquiring few more this year. So that's my short version of my career highlights.
Listen, a lot of success in a very tight window of time. You mentioned buying, a 24 unit and a 72 unit in the same year, plus some single family properties as well. I want to just kind of rewind to that moment. When you made the decision to invest in real estate, what was going through your mind? I mean, what problem were you trying to solve? Why did you decide to invest in real estate back then?
See, basically, really speaking, I did not have any insight about real estate. I have a friend, so to say, my brother-in-law. He has been buying single families, and he still buys them. And he said, brother, you have to buy one of these. So he made me buy one house. I started getting few $100 cash flow. Then I bought another one. Then I realized, I need knowledge. So I joined a group, so to say. I've been working for so long, and I hear it, if I'm sharing, if I am trading my time with money, I can trade it only for as long as I have time, right? If I don't have time, I cannot trade that. So I wanted something to work for me even when I'm not working. So that's the real thought process I had, that I wanted to build something which allows some work going on even when I'm not working. Because, many times these jobs are, sometimes you have a job, sometimes you don't have a job. And you don't have a job, there's no cash flow. So that kind of made me think about that I should think of something which I can have a cash flow coming irrespective of my job or not. So that was the primary reason why. But again, as I said, scalability, it has to scale from single family to multifamily. Otherwise, I cannot spend 3 months to close a single family home, which is going to give me $100, $200. So that was no brainer to me. That's why I moved from single family to multifamily.
Yeah, listen, that makes a lot of sense, and it's something I'm sure a lot of people are dealing with. First and foremost, you talked about the fear of being, having just that one source of income from your day job. Well, what happens if you don't have that job anymore? And that's a fear that I think many people can relate to. Is you never want to be solely dependent on one source of income, especially in an environment like today, where there's so much uncertainty in the world. You don't know what's going on with companies. Will they have to close? Will there be a stimulus package? So to have that diversification and to have another source of income that can keep you and your family going, it's a great way to relieve some of the stress, relieve some of the pressure of what we get from a W-2 job. But from there, the challenge was really scalability. You could buy a single family house, but to spend all that time to make a couple $100 a month, is that really the best way to scale? And is that going to replace your income if you really needed to rely on it? Maybe not. So going into multifamily provided you with a solution that allowed you to scale, to also, alleviate some of the fears and concerns you have about losing your job. I want to fast forward to, mentioned the 24 unit and the 72 unit in the same year. Obviously you were educating yourself from that single family property that you had. What gave you the confidence to go out and do those deals? And did you partner on any of those deals, or was that kind of just you and your own money going out there doing those two?
Yeah, on my first 24 unit, I wanted to say, I first of all, I would be lucky, I would, show my gratitude to my friends, the partners I have gotten in my journey. I wanted to share my gratitude for them. In my single family career, I had a great mentor. When I paid, I had the network to work within the network and things like that. But from there, when I moved into multifamily, I found a great sort of a mentor, a friend of mine whom I knew 20 years ago, but I was not in touch with him, and he happened to be a wholesaler. So he held my hand, and in the first 24 units, I'm partnering with a friend of mine, but the real motivation was this other friend who helped me to buy that. And while buying that, we closed that deal by the in 17 days. From soups to nut, the day saw the property, the day I closed, it was only 17 days. So I was hungry. I said, man, this, it's like good stuff. So then I started doing some marketing, did some, cold calling, hired a company to look for a property, found one lead, and I followed that lead for almost 9 months. And, I kept on meeting the gentleman. I talked to him, the older gentleman. I talked to him the next day. I was in Chicago to meet him, even though the property was somewhere else. Um, but I bought it, the last 72 unit, I bought it for myself. It's good cash flow, good something which I can rely on. Recently I did not have a job during the COVID time, and I was not sweating at all because I had some cash flow coming. When you do the bigger things, your mind starts opening up. Now I cannot think of buying 72 unit for myself. I think of buying, bigger properties. After doing 500 unit syndication, you know, 7 million, 2 million, that doesn't matter anymore. It's not that I'm putting that kind of money, but your mind sort of starts opening up. You can think bigger. You know what you can do. So just follow your instinct and, keep, take calculated risks. I'm not saying that everybody should take the risk of just going and buying it. I took 9 months to buy 72 units, by the way. I went to multiple times, visited the property. I had great rapport with my seller. Seller said that, Prashant, if I'm going to sell it, I'm going to sell it to you. And he turned back and he sold it to me after 9 months, but I kept on talking. So building that rapport helped me a lot, and I learned along the way, I learned a lot from the seller also, because he's a builder out of Chicago. I think, knock on the wood, I've been lucky that I was able to think bigger and I was able to take actions in my journey.
Great insights there. You talked about the mindset and being able to think about going from, the single family to that first multifamily deal, that 24 unit, to the 72, and now doing 500 plus type units, and recognizing that, hey, it's hard now to even look at these smaller deals. And for someone listening, I think that the takeaway here is that when you start down this pathway, you realize that those limiting beliefs, the things there, you say, hey, I need to start small. I need to start with a 10 unit or a 6 unit or an 8 unit. When you do those things, now you're building the confidence and you're building the credibility, but you don't have to start there. You can start with a large deal. You can partner with other people to overcome those same challenges, to build credibility, to build the confidence. It doesn't have to be you by yourself. And what I heard you talk about was you had a wholesaler friend, you had another investor who kind of worked with you on that first deal. You did the 72 unit more by yourself, but now you really focus more on partnering with other people, bringing groups together to do these large deals. Real quick, I want to know, like, market wise, were all of these deals in the same market, or are these spread out across the country? And if so, I'd love to hear more about the way you evaluated those markets to determine these were areas where you wanted to invest.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point, John. And a lot of people struggle in identifying, which markets they should invest in. And primarily because of the reason, we don't have deals available in those markets. So, I primarily focused on a couple of markets, which were a couple of years ago, they were good and they are still good. You don't have to have like 10 markets. You can have 2 or 3 markets where you could focus on. And for one reason or another reason, I liked Indianapolis quite a bit. So that's where I did my marketing. Indianapolis, Columbus, kind of Louisville, that triangle in that area. A couple of years ago, I did some marketing there. That's where I found one property. Another partner of mine in one of the deals was doing something in Atlanta. So that's how I got exposed to Atlanta at that time. And this 500 units, which I'm talking about, we ended up buying in Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville, Alabama happened to be the second fastest growing country. Second fastest growing city in United States right now, and first one, of course, in Alabama. So all in all, the focus has been Midwest to East. I don't go more than 2 hours of flying time, 2.5, 3 hours at most. But in these, you have a couple of markets which, you look at everything, job growth, population growth, crime rate, normal criterias for, and primarily, primary markets or secondary markets, nothing tertiary, so to say. So that's how we identified, maybe 10 markets, but ended up focusing on 3 so far, Indianapolis, Atlanta, and Huntsville. These, and maybe something in Houston also. So that's my markets right now, but I'm open for other markets also, as long as I find a good deal. Finding a good deal is a challenge, has been a challenge this year for sure, and last year also. So there's not so much of choice, so to say. These are my thoughts around that.
Prashant, I like that approach, though. You talked about really kind of the eastern half. You talked about the Midwest and the Southeast region. Some great markets you mentioned: Indianapolis, Columbus, Louisville. All 3 markets we love, by the way. So we love those markets. And when you talk more Southeast, we are now looking at Huntsville, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia, and then you mentioned What was the third one?
Houston.
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 Yes, Houston as well. Houston, Texas,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
But those are great markets. And you mentioned what you look for, looking at population, looking at the jobs, looking at the crime. And a lot of this happens more on the sub-market level. So it's not just, hey, buy anything in Houston or anything in Indianapolis. We still need to dig into the actual location of these properties to figure out where do we want to invest. Because you are investing across multiple cities, and it is a challenge for many people to find deals right now, yourself included. I'm curious for other folks who are trying to find deals and are looking at various markets, how are you able to stay on top of all the different deals, all the various opportunities that may be coming up in these markets? What's your process?
See, this is, John, you know it very well that this is a very complicated process in terms of finding the deals, right? It is constant marketing on your side as a sponsor, constantly talking to the brokers. Basically, once you do one deal, then brokers start trusting you and they start, reaching out back to you. Once you do one deal with them, once you do one deal with the property manager, there are property managers who are willing to open a new branch in a different city just for ourselves. So it's like, because they are making money in our deal, so you treat them as a partner in a deal, right? When you treat them as a partner in a deal, they are willing to go. As long as your philosophies are matching, they are willing to go extra step for you. So in this business, it's a team sport, right? So you treat these brokers as your partners because brokers have to make money. If you think you can find you can get away by not skipping a broker, words go around very fast. Brokers stop liking you. So I mean, the most important things in this business are your relationships, right? Relationship with the brokers, relationship with the property managers, and that trusted bond, right? So that kind of makes it, when you have done a deal worth 10 million, the next time broker finds another deal for 15 million, he'll bring it to you because he knows that you have done it and you will do it again. So that has been the critical component in our success. And second, these property managers, you have to trust. I mean, you have to manage these properties, right? Otherwise, this is a headache. I mean, we all talk about deals. Closing a deal is like having a baby. Once the baby is born, that's when the work starts, right? You close the deal, that's when the work starts. You have to go in and do all the work. Asset management and construction management. And as long as you have a partner on your side who knows what he is doing and not screwing you around also at the same time. So these are important things basically. So that has
Yeah.
been our philosophy, is to treat our partners as partners, not just employees.
So making sure that these are real partnerships. You talked about the broker relationships, property managers, and making sure that it's not just a vendor, but these are people who are a part of your team. They're extended team members. So they're going to feed opportunities. They're going to, work with you and bend over backwards a little bit to help make that deal happen. And as you're getting these deals from kind of all over, right? Do you have a process to kind of analyze and get offers out right away? Or how do you manage kind of staying on top of what's happening across, 5 to 10 different markets?
I must say that we are not that sophisticated yet. I mean, to be honest with you, although we have our deal pipeline, deals come and they go in one place, and there we do we analyze them in a sequence, and as they start, maturing, we start offering. But we have not so far put in like a real process together. I mean, I'm just being very honest. I can make up things, for the sake of talking. But I mean, we have some process, but not the best. We are not out there yet.
You get deals, you analyze them.
Yeah, I
Right?
get the
You
deals.
get a deal, you analyze it, you put in an offer. It's pretty straightforward. Hey, some things don't have to be that sophisticated, right?
Yeah,
It's just a matter of staying on top of these relationships. You get a deal, analyze, you get that offer in, and you go from there with it. I want to talk about My Realty Gains, right? Like this company that you've created. I'd love to learn a little bit more about it and how you kind of help work with other people.
yeah. So basically, My Realty Gains is that my sponsor company, right? I mean, it's my company, and I mean, in this company, I started buying my homes and my single families and multifamilies and whatnot, all the syndication. But then, I realized, guys, there are two things in this business, right? One is properties, and one is deals, and one is investors, right? One is so we have to we have to we have to work on both the things at the same time, right? So one is properties that we are looking at, and one is investors. We are warming up the investors and bringing them these deals, right? So that investor education, so to say. So I created this platform called myrealtygains.com, where my goal is to educate investors as much as possible. And again, there's never a charge or anything. Just offer some value to investors in terms of you know my email courses or whatever. So the basic idea is to just share what I have known and share with investors or non-investors. uh, yeah, that's about it. It's nothing more than that. I mean, it's just an investors club, and I share some knowledge with my investors, or through meetups and through conferences and things like that.
Yeah, and I know you host a meetup as well. We didn't mention this at the beginning of the show, but you're out in the New York area, out in Long Island, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about kind of your meetup and some of those events you're hosting.
So, I mean, I do. I mean, right now, for obvious reasons, I mean, we are doing only online. But we have had meetups here in Long Island area. For for I mean, open meetup for everybody, those who want to come. So normal thing. We would invite a guest, or sometimes we will talk and we share our deals with the folks who are there, and we let everybody share their own deals also. Nothing, no hard and fast rule, so to say. Just basically continue to educate, and hopefully someday people become partners. I mean, truly speaking, when I do these things without any expectation, selflessly, that's when I get the best results. In my first deals, I have found more investors from my meetups and online webinars and things like that than my regular network. So that, I mean, I'm kind of, I have the great appreciation for sharing my knowledge or experiences with folks selflessly without any expectation.
I want to make sure everyone heard what you just said. You said that, hosting these events, you're connecting with people, you're sharing information, you're educating others, you're allowing them to share deals that they have. And you've actually been able to raise more money from people who attend these events than people from your private network prior to doing any of these things. So for anyone who is trying to figure out how to raise more money, how to attract capital for deals, you just gave a great insight on how to actually attract investors and how to do that. Hosting these meetups is certainly a great way to put yourself in front of a live audience, folks who are obviously interested in investing. And if you can find the deal, if you can bring those opportunities, you now put yourself in a position to drive these deep connections. Can you just talk a little bit more about how valuable it's been for you to put yourself in a position as a thought leader, share the knowledge and the experience that you actually have with this audience, and why you think it's so valuable for you and your business?
See, fundamentally, I come from a very humble background. Always my goal is to. I have never thought this effort, this life, as being measured by money, so to say, right? So my family, my parents are like so humble. My home is always open. Anybody can come in and have food. Um, so I mean, again, I'm not trying to brag about myself or my family. So that feeling is there, to be able to help, those who are stuck somewhere, if I can, right? I mean, uh, you know, uh, or maybe just go out a little bit out of my way and help somebody out. When I when I feed somebody, I'll give you an example. When I feed somebody, what is that I'm getting? the satisfaction, I'm getting some benefit out of it, right? So when I'm sharing something, I get that immense benefit. That itself is enough, you know, that itself is enough for me, right? But when I keep doing that, it becomes my second nature, so to say, right? I mean, whenever you see somebody, you help them out or take help also many times. But when you help somebody, it's not that you are helping, it is they are taking your help. They have the gratitude for you too, right? So at some point they start thinking, how can I help Prashant? Or they start looking up to those who are helping them, and they sort of get connected at a deeper level, right? And irrespective of whether I ask or not, many times when I post my deal, those people come back, hey, Prashant, I want to invest with you, you know, irrespective of whether I ask them or not, right? I mean, that happens all the time. And happens at the time when you need it most. There are times when you know that this deal is falling apart and you need another 500,000 or 250,000, and suddenly somebody pops up from somewhere. Listen, I want to invest with you. I mean, that has happened many, many times with me. So, I mean, I'm grateful that that has happened with me, and I wish that it happens with everybody else in the world too. Uh, but it just happens. I'm
I,
just
I,
grateful to that.
I love the fact that you've talked about not expecting anything in return, and doing it to feed others, as you stated, because that's the right mentality, and to expect something, I think, is where people get themselves in trouble, and that's when you host an event for a couple of months, but you're not seeing any value, you're not seeing any return, and that's when you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. You can't go into it expecting to raise $1 million, from doing 3 meetups. That's not how this works. But the goal is to help other people. If you can serve other people, if you can create a platform that allows you to pour into others, you will get some benefit. I had a question. I did an interview. I spoke at someone's webinar a couple weeks ago, and they asked me a question. I want to throw at you. It says, "Hey, do you get frustrated when you spend time working with someone, teaching them? They come to your events, and then they ultimately end up going with someone else that has a similar service that you offer." I'm curious to hear your response on something like that.
See, basically, if I get frustrated, I mean, the way I look at it, my goal is my thought. When you have selfless, right? When you are selfless, then your interest is aligned with others' interest, and not your interest, which is paramount. It is their interest which is paramount, and it is up to them to decide. So my mentality is, whatever it is, uh, he didn't come to me. That doesn't matter to me. My goal was to give, and I was not there to receive. And let others decide. There's really no obligation. I mean, if I get frustrated, it means I start expecting something out of it. So I am very transparent in that matter. To your point, would it feel bad? It hasn't really happened with me so far. Would it feel bad? Maybe it will feel bad, but I kind of um, have been brought up that way, that if you are doing something for others, you do it selflessly. Irrespective of how much you have done, there is no expectation that you will get something in return. I mean, fortunately, it hasn't happened with me so far. Uh, would I be feel bad? Maybe for a second I would feel bad, but I mean, I don't think that is going to bother me too much.
Yeah, I think it just comes back to being selfless, like you said. If you're selfless, you're not going into it expecting something. What I will say is that it helps to understand why someone went a different way. And a lot of times with real estate deals, I mean, it's timing, right? I mean, you either have a deal right now or you don't. And if you don't have a deal and someone needs to invest or is looking to invest, they're going to figure out what their options are. But the other thing is, some people just may not know what you do. And that's on you, right? To communicate and to share and make sure people know, what it is you do, how they can help you, and not just, hey, I invest in real estate, but it may be other things, right? So
Yeah.
part of that's on us as individuals when we are helping people, when they ask, hey man, is there anything you need help with? Let people know what you're working on so they know how to think about helping you as well. Because again, they may not be ready to invest, but maybe they have someone in their family or friend that would have an
Yeah.
interest and they're willing to make an introduction.
Yeah, and as you said, timing is very crucial, right? I mean, I may share a deal, but my investor may not have money at that time, right? So there's nothing to feel bad about that, right? I mean, uh, you cannot expect everybody to invest with you all the time. As long as they know that when they have money, then you can put their money to use. Uh, I mean, now I have relationships where if people have money, I say normal conversation. Hey, John, what's going on? I say, John, I have a deal, right? And he said, okay, tell me how much check do I need to cut? Don't even ask. I have those kind of relationships built. If they have money, people just say, okay, take it. Irrespective of what kind of deal I am sharing or whatever. So I mean, there's nothing to feel bad about. Yeah. And again, it's a very time sensitive thing. People may or may not have money. Why to feel bad about it?
Yeah. And I think too, when you build up that rapport, it makes it a little bit easier. I know that you are helping a lot of passive investors. You've got a 7-day email course to educate people on passive investing. I'm curious, what are some of the common questions that you get from prospective investors about, investing in real estate syndications and apartments?
See, fundamentally, what is happening? I come from a technology background, John, like you. A lot of I know my network is very wide. I mean, obviously coming from India, and there are a lot of Indians around. Those who don't know what the real estate means, right? All they know is earn the money, put it in the stock market, or buy a home for themselves, single family home for themselves. People have no idea about how can they scale their income by not doing anything, right? Only by cutting the check they can utilize someone else's competency and still make decent amount of return. I mean, I bet you all of these friends who have a couple of single families, they make $100 on them and spend half of their time there. They do not know how to invest passively. So my goal really is to educate them. There is a vehicle where you can invest passively and can earn more than what you can earn even in your single family assets. Sometimes people think that they are giving the money to somebody. It is not giving the money. It is them becoming a partner in a property. They are on the ownership. They own that building. So they instead of owning 100% a single family home worth 400,000, maybe they are owning 10% of a $4 million deal, right? So, and not by lifting their finger. So, and it is being professionally managed, not them managing their tenant and toilet and whatnot, right? So our goal is typically to educate them through this 7-day email course which I created for them. Just click on it. You will get 7 videos of mine. It's not email. I mean, it's email, but it comes in the email. You have me talking about what are the fundamental benefits. In single family, you cannot get the depreciation, accelerated depreciation. In multifamily, you can, and that may potentially reduce your taxes. So there are a bunch of benefits of passive investing, and people don't know about that. So that's the real purpose. I mean, it's not spammy or anything. I'm not just sending it out. I mean, those who subscribe, they will get it, and it's all free. So you know, if somebody wants to subscribe, feel free to do so. And I'm always open to talk to anybody, explain them in detail. Right now, I'm explaining. I'm skimming through the details of the course, but I'm happy to talk to anybody to kind of bring them up to the speed how they can invest passively, own a property, call them the owner of a $4 million project, not just a single family owner, so to say, and still get fundamental benefits. So, and probably more because of the depreciation also. So, I mean, you know the whole thing. I mean, I'm just kind of skimming the whole, in a very, I kind of told you the whole thing in a very short, uh, you know, amount of time.
Absolutely. For listeners who want to check that out, where do they go to get this 7-day course?
Just go to myrealtygaze.com, and there is an option 7-day email course. Subscribe to that.
All right, we'll put the link.
Address, yeah.
We'll put the link in the show notes so you can check that out. Prashant, are you ready to go to our bullseye round?
Sure, I am. Yes.
Give me a failure or an apparent failure that set you up for later success.
See, when you in this business, there are a lot of people who are who are not of the same mentality. Be ready to accept what others are doing. I was hit very hard the night before a closing. 500 deals. My partner backed out and chose to took over the deal from me. And just because I had 500,000 hard that night, I had to give him the deal because I didn't want to lose 500K. So that was not a failure. That was the opportunity that I could learn a lot about how others think and what can happen with me. So I'm grateful to that I did not lose those 500K because that was the only money that I had that time in my pocket. And that helped me to close 2 deals in next 4 months. So I take that as an opportunity.
All right, I'm going to have to pause the bullseye round because I feel like we got to dig into that. I mean, that's a huge, lesson, I guess. Just walk me through it a little bit more. You mentioned you had $500,000 hard, but your partner took the deal. I guess help me understand how your partner was actually able to do that. Did they give you 500,000 back, or did you just get that as equity in the deal?
No. So they basically this was a private equity firm who was helping us in that deal, and they were bringing $4 million on that deal to the table, and we had another 6 million or whatever, and we were closing, and we did not have any extension the night before. I mean, it was all planned, so to say. I don't want to name it. There's no need to badmouth anybody, but at 11 o'clock in the night, for 8 o'clock in the morning closing, he said, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to do the deal. I'm backing out. And I said, how can this happen? He said, no, I won't do the deal, but I will do the deal myself. I won't do the deal with you, but I'll do the deal myself. Are you willing to give it to me? I mean, we had no choice, right? We said, okay, yeah, you can take it. He said, yeah, okay, I'll pay you whatever you have done. We worked on that deal. It was a difficult deal, 6 months. It took us 6 months, 3 months of the contract plus additional 2-3 months of the extension. Very difficult deal, but it was all put in a silver platter. So we gave it to him. He gave us, our money back. Plus he gave us 1% also, a little bit of, for our all the hard work that we did. So I mean, eventually it worked out. Not that we were looking for that 1%. We would have made much more. So that was a tough thing, so to say.
How could you have structured that deal or that relationship or partnership differently to protect yourself from that happening at the 11th hour?
Yeah, that was the 11th hour. I mean, there was no option. And in that particular scenario, there was no option at that time. I did not have time to look for another equity partner at that time. Even if it was.
I mean, going forward though. I mean, how could you if going forward the lesson? What would you have done differently, or could you have done differently to protect yourself?
One thing which we have done after that, we have stopped going to that hard kind of deals. It was 60% occupied. So we said, let us learn our lessons and let's go with slightly easier deals, and have some more contract time, and do not ask for a bigger chunk from one partner. So if somebody is bringing 70-80% of your equity, then they are going to ask for much more in the deal. If they bring 10 to 15%, the bigger partners, when they come in, they like to, like everything else, bigger fish tries to eat the small one. So that happens in this business all the time. So we
Watch
try
out
to
for the
avoid.
sharks. Got it.
Yeah.
Watch out for the sharks, right? Everyone's always looking for the whale investor,
Yeah.
that investor that can write the big check. And, we look at private equity firms and big companies that have deep pockets, family offices as well. But sometimes that whale is really a shark. So
Yeah.
just make sure you're being careful with the people you partner with. And as you stated, if you limit their portion to say 20% or less, they can't, just take over the deal and bump you out. So excellent insight. I'm happy we stopped and paused the bullseye round to dig into that a little bit more. I think that's very valuable, especially for anyone who is looking to work with larger private equity firms or family offices and looking to structure deals. Take that as a cautionary tale and make sure you are protecting yourself when you're doing these deals. All right, Prashant, let's jump back into the bullseye round.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
See, digital resource, I try not to spend too much time on myself, but I have, a great offshore marketing company who helps me to do all my digital marketing. I ask them to, take care of my webinars. I ask them to take care of my Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, right? So I have built that trust and competency where, I want to remain focused on my business and try to offload these ancillary things onto those who know them best, because my time is limited and I cannot spend time on those things. So honestly, I do not have anything specific which I can tell you, but if somebody needs help, I can connect them with a great marketing resource.
There you go. So your marketing agency is a resource. Great to go. All right. Give me the book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
So, like anybody else, I have certain things which I do. I meditate, and a book that I have gifted the most, and I still have 30 copies here with me. That's like my favorite gift. The name of the book is The Heartfulness Way. The Heartfulness Way.
All right.
It has been Amazon best-selling book. You give me your address, I'll mail it one for you too.
All right. I definitely want to check that book out. So we'll do that. So I love that. Appreciate that. All right. Give me a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals.
See, have your accountability partner. I have my accountability partner. My first meeting of the day at 6:30 a.m. is with my accountability partner for 15 minutes. I do not have mental capacity to remember each and everything in my head, and I end up forgetting things. My accountability partner keeps me on my toes, keeps on asking questions, and that kind of helps me a lot. So 6:30 in the morning, I'm always on the phone with him. He's not in the United States, but we are on the Zoom call talking to him every day.
What's one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you were starting out?
See, I do not regret on what I had done in past, because at that time those things were correct. I'm kind of firm believer of what comes to me when the time comes. I get what I get at the right time. So things, as I keep on explaining, that I continue to evolve, my mind keeps on opening up, and the opportunities keep on coming. And it's one thing, when I expect, then things don't happen. When I don't expect, things happen. So that's, I'm a little sensitive to these things. That's why my conversation go in these directions. But you know what I mean. Yeah. So that's all.
It's aligned with what we talked about with expectations and everything else throughout the episode. So it's in line with everything we've heard from you so far. So it's great. What are you curious about right now?
See, curious about. Okay, that's a good question. I didn't think it through. I'm just curious to, Hopefully, quit my job that I'm doing someday, sooner than later, and start doing things what I really want to do during the day. I love helping others, to meditate. I'm a volunteer meditation trainer. I do that. I can skip my meals. I can skip everything if I can help others to meditate. I've been doing that for last 25 years. And that's what I want to do basically. So I'm curious to get there sooner than later.
Awesome. I love it. All right. We talked about Long Island. You got to give me the best place to grab a bite out there.
And when you are here, I'm going to take you out. So, so you don't even have to know it. I'll take you out, man.
Hey, well, I appreciate it, but if you're not going to take out all the rest of our listeners, they may want to get it.
So I like
a great
Indian
place.
Food. I like Indian food. In Hicksville, we have Madras dosa. That's an authentic place. Feel free to stop by there. And you guys know my number. If you are in town, just call me and I'll take you out also.
I love it. All right, listen, you've given us a lot of great insights. I appreciate your openness. And for me, my biggest takeaway is going to be about selflessness and not having expectations, giving with no sense of, expectations of what you get back. It's really about serving other people. And if you do that the right way, the universe will take care of you. Now, certainly you have to tell the universe what you need and tell people what you're looking for. But if you do that, you will be in a position to grow. And the way you scaled your portfolio from single family homes to the 24 unit, the 72 unit, the large 500 plus unit deals and beyond, I think is just really telling of how you can act if you are open-minded and willing to, take your investing to the next level. We talked about the 7-day email course. For our listeners who want to learn more about you or get in touch, what are some other ways for them to reach out?
See, I'm on Facebook. My website is the best way, myrealtygains.com. You have all my contact informations there. My email address is as simple as that, prashant@myrealtygains.com. I'm on Facebook, on LinkedIn, you name it. I'm everywhere, for that matter.
Awesome. Well, we'll certainly link to a couple of those profiles so you can reach out to Prashant directly. Hey, I want to thank you for joining us today and sharing so much information with us and our audience. I hope you have a great day, and we'll be in touch later, man.
Don, thank you so much again for your time, for inviting me to your show. And I hope to see you in person sometime soon. Thank you.